It was a time of great excitement. God was doing something like totally new. The Holy Spirit had come, and the manifestation of the Holy Spirit was something that was not ever seen before. Cloven tongues as a fire, we read in one translation. And when that happened, the persons began to speak in tongues and seemed to be moving in a way that suggested that they were not totally in control of all of their faculties. The coming of the Holy Spirit seemed to have had that effect on them. The onlookers were uncertain, the onlookers were perhaps confused. The onlookers then began to shape their own opinions as to what really was happening. Regrettably, some went to the very lowest place in accusing these persons who were experiencing the presence and the power of that point of transformation in human history in unpleasant ways. It must be that they're drunk, even though the bars are not yet open. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes when God turns up, sometimes when God is doing a new thing, there are going to be different views, different opinions, different suggestions as to what is happening. Some perhaps will be silent out of their uncertainty. Others, they will be very clear in their mind that this is what God is doing, and whatever God is doing, we want to be a part of it, and we want to have that sense of flowing in the transformation that is taking place in that moment. And yet for others, it's a time to be derogatory, it's a time to be unpleasant. Have you ever wondered why some persons decided to be derogatory? Have you ever wondered why some persons decided to be unpleasant? Have you ever wondered that perhaps persons who should have known better, perhaps persons who, under other circumstances, you'd find them acting with the highest level of grace. But here they were, watching something they did not understand, watching something that they couldn't wrap their minds around. And instead of seeking God's heart, instead of seeking God's will, they spoke as though they already knew. These are but drunk at 9 o'clock in the morning. How unfortunate. Sometimes when God acts, there is uncertainty. Sometimes when God acts, there can be confusion. Sometimes when God acts, it seems as though his way of acting is not in keeping with what we would like, what we approve, what we expect. But the truth is, God is not bound by what we like. God is not bound by the things that we expect Him to do, because our frame of reference is usually colored by our limitations, usually colored by our own point of reference, usually colored by our dogma. And often, God acts outside of our dogma. Often, God acts outside of the things that color us and the things that create expectations of Him that He perhaps has nothing to do with. So it's 9 o'clock in the morning, and the people of God are behaving in a way that is not consistent with what others would like of them, or even would like to describe as God's doing in them. How do we respond? in the face of God's action in ways that is outside of our norm.